There's this bit where Darcy, who, probably never even made her own coffee, is standing in this tiny rental kitchen, just completely baffled by a...
So, what happens when the life, the really comfortable one, just disappears? When everything you've always relied on is suddenly gone, and you're kind of thrown into this completely new situation where you have to, redefine everything. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of story. It's one of a pretty profound change. We're looking at excerpts from Danielle Steel's novel, For Richer, For Poorer. And what really grabbed me, is the main character, Darcy Gray. She starts off with immense privilege, like total comfort. But then, bam, the family fortune collapses, completely pulls the rug out from under her. And she's immediately facing this huge, unavoidable challenge. It changes her whole life.
Yeah, and what's really striking in the source material is how it just throws her right into it. This transformation journey.
Yeah.
So our mission, really, in this deep dive is to unpack how she actually navigates this totally different world. It's full of uncertainty, new problems, really tough choices. And we're going right to the source, looking at how the novel shows her struggle, her growth.
Right. And the core question here for Darcy, and maybe for all of us listening, is, will she let this loss just define her? Or is she going to take this massive upheaval and, use it, build maybe something more real, more meaningful? That's where I think the big aha moment comes in for you, the listener.
Definitely. And if you look at the broader themes, okay, transformation is huge, obviously, but the novel is also really sharp about, like, the illusions of wealth, how money can kind of hide what's actually important. And maybe most importantly, it points towards this deeper kind of richness, the kind that comes from things like love, integrity, courage. The book puts it really beautifully, actually.
So as we get into Darcy's story, which is pretty compelling, maybe think about what you value most. When all the external stuff is stripped away. Okay, let's get into it. So when we first meet Darcy, the book paints this picture, right? Total luxury. Sprawling Manhattan penthouse, staff doing everything, designer clothes, endless fancy parties. You get the idea. But then, like we said, the floor drops out, family business gone, father gone, and Darcy's left with, basically nothing. The clothes she's wearing and a pile of debts.
Yeah, and what's so effective is the source doesn't just say she lost everything, it shows it. These stark contrasts, often quite small details, like there's this bit where Darcy, who, probably never even made her own coffee, is standing in this tiny rental kitchen, just completely baffled by a bag of groceries. It's a small thing, but it really hits home. It shows the total collapse of her old life and how unprepared she was. It wasn't just losing money, it was losing her whole sense of self, her capabilities.
That's where that illusion of wealth really hits you, isn't it? The novel shows how all those supposed friends, the ones who buzzed around the money, they just vanish. Poof, phone stops ringing, no more invitations. It's brutal. But then, and this is interesting, the book shows these little moments of real kindness from people she barely would have noticed before, like a kind landlady, a neighbor who's maybe a bit gruff but helps out, a grocery clerk.
Exactly. And that really drives home one of the novel's key insights.
Yeah.
Real value isn't about your social standing or your bank account, right?
Yeah.
The source shows Darcy really wrestling with this. There's this one scene I remember where she could take a shortcut. Some shady business deal offered by an old acquaintance. But she finds this integrity that's kind of being forged in all this difficulty, and she says no. It's a really powerful moment. It shows her choosing the harder path, the honest one, over something easy but wrong. That's her inner strength starting to show.
Yeah, and that integrity becomes her foundation for rebuilding, doesn't it? Darcy, despite, coming from that world, she eventually takes a job, a pretty humble one. And she learns about hard work, something totally alien to her before. The book doesn't sugarcoat it. It shows her struggling, having moments of real despair. But it also shows her starting to feel this pride in earning her own keep. She's literally reinventing herself piece by piece, not with money she inherited, but with sheer grit.
And this is where that idea of deeper richness really starts to take shape. Through all these challenges, Darcy finds this resilience she never knew she had. It wasn't there before, or maybe it was just buried deep. She develops courage, not just to face the day-to-day grind, but also courage to be vulnerable, to build real relationships that aren't about status. The riches she's gaining now aren't financial at all. They're self-worth, genuine connections, the quiet sort of dignity that comes with independence. The book makes it really clear. True wealth is in your character, your connections, not what's in your wallet.
So just to kind of wrap up Darcy Gray's incredible arc, we saw her go from this life of, complete privilege, didn't even question it, to facing a world where all that material wealth was just gone. And she didn't just cope. She had to fundamentally reinvent herself, learn to survive in a reality without any of her old safety nets.
Right. And this deep dive into For Richer, For Poorer, I think it makes a really profound point about what actually matters when all that external stuff, the money, is taken away. Darcy finds love, sure, and resilience, definitely, but also her own, unshakable inner strength. It really is about finding that deeper richness the novel talks about, the kind you find in love, integrity, courage, not in a bank statement. So as you think about Darcy's story, maybe take a moment to consider your own ideas about wealth, about security. What kinds of richness do you have that, aren't about money or possessions? And maybe think about how you define or how you could build that true inner strength and resilience in your own life, especially when things get tough, when life throws you those curveballs that force you to rethink everything.
That really is a profound journey to think about. It's so valuable, isn't it? Exploring stories like Darcy's, stories that make us question what being truly rich even means. We really hope this deep dive gave you some surprising things to think about, maybe a new perspective that stays with you after you finish listening.
Grab For Richer, For Poorer by Danielle Steel. Now on sale for $21.95. Don't miss this chance to build good habit and achieve remarkable results. Buy now, today.
Like and subscribe for more Bookhaven podcasts.